Holly aspires to be a businesswoman and says she's never wanted handouts from anyone, certainly not the government. But she had to close her shop down for a month when her 4-year-old daughter became ill and had to go to hospital. When they got home, she had no food in the fridge and not a penny to buy anything. So she did what so many are now having to do, go cap in hand to the food bank after raiding her daughter's money jar for a few coins to buy some milk.
You could sign that and that sort of thing.
We're nice people. We're not what people expect. We're not drug addicts. We're not alcoholics. We haven't got ourselves in this situation because we've lived this amazing life, and we've got it because it's just the way it is.
Holly lives in Chichester on England's south coast. It's posh here with a capital P. Even the buskers play jazz. Chichester is the 5th most expensive town in England, but here, as elsewhere, the food bank has never been busier. Of course, the government can point to a whole slew of statistics which say that life in Britain is genuinely getting better. Some of the fastest growth rates forecast in the industrialised world, wages up, inflation down. And yet it's also clear there is now an entire layer of society here, 1 million people deep, who simply can't afford the basics. The Trussell Trust, which now has 30,000 volunteers at some 400 food banks around the country, has come up with some startling figures on food bank use. In 2010, just over 61,000 were asking for emergency rations. The following year, that doubled, and the year after that, nearly tripled. And last year, it almost tripled again, to virtually 1 million people.
For many of these families, they can be just an unexpected bill away from being in a crisis. And as their incomes are stagnating and as bills continue to rise, so too, things are going to get even more difficult for many of these families as we go through 2014.
And now 40 senior Anglican bishops have used the opportunity of Easter week to write to the government to express their anger at all this.
When I think of Jesus and the sorts of things that Jesus did and stood for and encouraged his followers to do, he talked about the Good Samaritan. It's the person who joins up the dots with their neighbour, who does what they can for real people, as well as just coming out with great ideas of things that other people ought to do for them.
A couple of days ago, the Prime Minister David Cameron said he felt he was continuing Jesus' work in enabling social change in the UK. Yet it appears many in the church feel his government lacks basic Christian values in its treatment of the poor. Laurence, Al Jazeera, Chichester.